In 1974, an American bureaucrat flew to Saudi Arabia with no army, no weapons, and no public mandate. He carried one thing: an offer. And that offer quietly became the invisible architecture of the modern world. The reason your dollar buys less every year, the reason gas prices swing like a pendulum, and the reason every country on Earth wakes up dependent on a building in New York. This isn't a conspiracy theory. This is the open secret hiding in plain sight. But to understand it, we need to go back 3 years earlier. August 1971. Nixon walks up to the camera. No warning, no international consultation. He just announces it. The US will no longer exchange dollars for gold. Done. Unilaterally. The Bretton Woods system, the entire post-war financial order, gone overnight. The world had one question. If the dollar isn't backed by gold anymore, what is it backed by? The answer didn't come from economists. It came from the desert. William Simon, the US Treasury Secretary, landed in Riyadh in 1974. The meetings were classified. So classified, in fact, that the full details didn't surface until 2016. 42 years, nearly half a century, the world ran on a system it wasn't allowed to fully understand. The deal was almost absurdly simple. The US said, "Sell your oil in dollars only. In return, we protect you, arm you, legitimize you." Saudi Arabia said yes. The other OPEC nations followed. And just like that, the petrodollar was born. Think about what that actually means. Japan wants oil, but Japan has yen, not dollars, so Japan has to sell yen and buy dollars first. Germany does the same. India, China, every single country, every single day, creating constant global demand for the US dollar. That demand artificially inflates the dollar's value. And America gets to borrow endlessly because the entire world is lining up to hold its debt. The petrodollar was the greatest no-limit credit card in history, and the bill never came. Now ask yourself, who was actually inside this system, and who wasn't? Look at Iraq. Year 2000. Saddam Hussein announces he'll sell oil in euros, not dollars. Economically, it barely made sense. But symbolically, it was a direct challenge to the system. 3 years later, the US invaded Iraq. The official reason? Weapons of mass destruction. None were ever found. The euro-denominated oil sales quietly reverted to dollars. Look at Libya, 2009. Muammar Gaddafi proposes a gold-backed African currency, the gold dinar. The idea, African nations would sell their resources for gold, not dollars, not euros. 2 years later, NATO intervened. Gaddafi was killed. The gold dinar project disappeared with him. Coincidence? Maybe. But history keeps pointing the same direction. And now, here's where the story gets uncomfortable. 2022. Right after the Russia-Ukraine war breaks out, Saudi Arabia opens formal talks with China about selling oil in yuan. The Wall Street Journal runs it as a front-page story. Markets flinch. The US State Department expresses concern. Riyadh doesn't back down. Then BRICS expands. Saudi Arabia, Iran, the UAE, Egypt, Ethiopia, countries that were supposed to be in America's corner, start moving toward a bloc that looks a lot like an alternative to the dollar system. Saudi Crown Prince MBS meets Xi Jinping in Riyadh with full ceremony. So is the system actually collapsing? Honest answer, not yet. The dollar still makes up close to 80% of global reserves. The SWIFT system still runs largely on dollar rails. And the yuan has a serious trust problem. It's not freely traded, it's state-controlled. And no country wants to park its savings in a currency Beijing can manipulate overnight. But here's the thing, and this is the part that reframes everything we've talked about. The real question isn't whether the dollar is collapsing. The real question is, has it already collapsed once before? Go back to 1971. The gold standard ended. The old system broke. But nobody called it a collapse because something new was immediately built in its place. The petrodollar. The system didn't fall, it shapeshifted. It survived by reinventing itself before anyone noticed the old version was gone. What if that's exactly what's happening right now? Maybe it's not the dollar that's ending. Maybe it's dollar supremacy, the unchallenged unipolar, Everyone has to play by our rules version of it. A slow transition toward a world where multiple currencies share the weight, where no single country gets to run a permanent tab while everyone else pays full price. That transition, if it's real, is one of the biggest financial shifts in a century. And it's happening quietly, in closed meetings, in currency swap agreements buried in trade deals, in handshakes between leaders that never make the evening news. In 1974, one man flew to a desert and redrew the world's financial map. Today, that map is being redrawn again. Different hands, different rooms, different languages. But the same lesson applies. By the time the public hears about it, the deal is already done.